Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Sam here. Sam, you're the CEO of Happy Dad. You've helped build this incredible brand up to, pretty much become the example of what you can do with influencers and brand building. Happy Dad is everywhere. You guys have took this from just an idea of what people can build in this space to, a mass market, massive play. And you've been involved with the Nelk Boys, with the whole podcast network, with Shots, and you've also been involved in so many different apps and building that. You've just witnessed this whole creator economy grow a lot over the years. So I'm excited to have you here and to get into your story.
Well, Ben, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So just kind of going back to the beginning, how did your interest in the creator world, in just being an entrepreneur in general? You and John have just been this incredible dynamic duo. When did you guys realize that you want to just build stuff together?
Well, my brother and I have been building stuff together since we were in elementary school. So we've always had some type of brother and brother business together, from trading baseball cards to selling Slim Jims. But when we've always worked together since I was 16, 17. And I think in the big moment for us was really when we started making iPhone apps. So that was like 2008 or 9. We made some of the first popular paid iPhone apps, and the biggest piece to us was we remade a bunch of iPhone games that when iPhone games were just getting hot. So this is like even before Angry Birds came out. So,
Wow.
we made a game for Chad Ochocinco, who was a massive football player, now a huge podcast personality, which is kind of funny, full circle in our lives. And
Yeah.
we remade Mike Tyson's Punch Out on the iPhone. We made a game for Cristiano Ronaldo, and Cristiano Ronaldo, he's still the biggest thing, but he was, this was before like Messi really blew up, and made a game with him. And then Usain Bolt, who's, I think like 8-time Olympian gold medalist. We did that during the Olympics. So we built a lot of things, but I think the creator world was really social media first. And all those things that we did, we always used Twitter as a platform, X today, but that was always like our way of growing the business, because we never had the capital or the opportunity to, in those early days, mobile ads weren't really a thing. Instagram wasn't around. So Twitter was really the platform. And then when Instagram started taking off, Instagram started in 2010, and like around 2012, we, started working with Floyd Mayweather and started pushing his social media. So we got into social media because we started managing everybody's platforms and working with them and growing them, when social media was just this new thing that, you would have Ashton Kutcher and Shaq on Twitter just like posting about stuff. And I don't even think like news networks were on at that time. So CNN barely even had a page then, or whoever else. So kind of grew that business for quite some time and built a social network. And we had investors like Mayweather and Bieber and come in and grew the business. It was really awesome. But we saw that video was going to be like the future. So Vine got created, and we got very close with a lot of the Viners, and they were using our social network that we had at the time. And we were one of the first people that ever developed a social network on an Android device. Because Android devices right now are like very sophisticated, but back then they were rough. And so nobody really wanted to build a platform because the cameras weren't good and all that. So built that, but we're like, you know what? As much as building a social platform and like competing against the big guys, the Googles, the Facebooks and Snapchats of the world, and everybody, and Instagram, I think just like got acquired too, from Facebook at the time, now Meta. My brother and I just had this vision, and my brother was pretty bullish about it. Was we should manage a bunch of these guys that are on Vine and get them on YouTube, because you can monetize YouTube better, right? You're making money right now on YouTube. Every penny kind of gets collected, right? But also the future of video, like we knew Instagram was going to start implementing video. There was a moment that Instagram never had video, right? And Twitter had a third-party video app, and it just integrated Vine, and there's all these things going on. So the influencer economy just got created, because before that, you just had some people on YouTube and YouTubers, but you never had influencers. And there was never really an influencer on Twitter. There was never really an influencer at the time on Instagram, because the influencer real journey first started on Vine. And that's where Logan Paul and Jake Paul and Rudy Mancuso and King Batch and all these guys started really, they blew up. And then when Vine got acquired by Twitter, um, their homes kind of got lost in a way. The platform was like going a different direction, and Instagram still wasn't a video platform then. So we're like, dude, you guys should move all to YouTube, and no one really knew how to manage it. And we're like, why don't we manage it? But why don't we create a production studio? Let's, edit it. Let's create like kind of a world of, some had vlogs, a lot of them had scripted comedy. So it felt like little, like YouTube versions of Saturday Night Live clips, right? Like little skits and everything that were really massive. And I mean, these guys all went from like 0 subscribers when we were working with them to 5 million, 10 million, 20 million subscribers. And um, so that was kind of where the creator economy started getting created, right? Then like VidCon got created and like all these different things happening, and people were managing them, doing brand deals. And that was the future. I mean, that's kind of where we're at today is, obviously you have TikTok and everything, but um, I, we just knew that content was going to be the future of everything, specifically video content.
Yeah.
And we want to be that video house. So we worked on that, built that up, and built a great reputation because we were always honest with everybody and straight shooters. And from there, we kind of went through this game, and like COVID, the year, I mean, you're talking like 7 years of content making and everything. And then COVID comes around, and everybody's kind of panicking on what to do on their content, and we actually pivoted to a bunch of people doing podcasts because that worked, and that's really where the moment of podcast really took off. Right, podcasts were always like kind of like a niche audience, and then it started to turn off. So we're like, okay, what's that kind of new thing? Vlogging taxes a lot of people. Um, it's a lot of effort. And I mean, sure, you look at streaming right now with IRL and everything, like that's a lot of
Yeah.
commitment, right? And so podcasts turned into a really interesting thing. They start blowing up, but then you have like very unique and niche podcasts, right? Where I think that's where COVID started creating like this guy made a podcast just for basketball. This guy made a podcast for, before it was like book clubs and certain topics, certain political topics and stuff. So I don't know. We just kind of went through this whole journey, and I just gave you like a whole like
Yeah.
12-year thing of that, and we've always been fascinated. I mean, to this day is uh, we're still very very involved. My brothers, we have our Shots podcast network that my brother runs, and we have partners that is involved in a lot of ways, right? Like Full Send Podcast, Theo Vaughn, and a lot of other great people, but it's a very interesting world of the evolution. I saw something on like X the other day. Someone's like, let's talk about back in the day in like 2015 when like there was Viners and like how people were interacting. Oh, you know what it was? It was Jay Alvarez and that girl. Remember there was like there was a couple back then, and they're the first travel vlog couple,
Okay.
and now everybody does it. I was just like, kind of taking back to the days of when that was the first time somebody actually like learned how to monetize traveling.
Yeah.
So pretty
It's,
interesting long story. Sorry, I went on a little rant, but like
that's good.
it wasn't a quick answer.
Yeah, that was good. It was fascinating to hear kind of the journey. But what made you guys like really believe so much in content creators? Like, was it you saw the view count and you were like, well, views are views. You can get that in traditional media or online. This is valuable. Like, what made you believe in this so much? Because there was not this a creator economy like you mentioned at that point.
Well, so one is censorship. So you when we started making our YouTube videos, they're like super edgy, and not crazy edgy. Some folks were just like really fun and edgy, but there was no rules, so there was no like you can't do this or do that. Like you have to stay within like the limits of stuff that wouldn't hurt people, right? But you could say some wild shit and it was cool.
Yeah.
And you could say shit. You could say, you could say swear words and all that. And you could push the limits because there was no network that said you were not allowed to do that. I don't approve this script. I don't do these things.
Mm.
So I think the silliness of that. I mean, you look at memes now, like it's just like you have these like gorilla videos that are crazy on AI right now. Like nobody, it's like wild. And so I think the unfiltered and the ability to go and record whatever you want, say what you want, and everything. That never really existed until YouTube came around and some of these video platforms. So that was really, really interesting to us. And and just working with creators as you kind of, I mean, these guys are just geniuses. Like you create,
Yeah.
like that's why they're called creators. Like there's a magic to them, right? And some people don't make it. They want to be a creator, but they don't. But there's other ones that like they do, and they move up in their careers. But um, there's a I think just the freedom of making whatever you want whenever you want is pretty cool, and that's like what's so special about it. And then there's authenticity,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's how certain creators have lost their like fan base, is if they lost the authenticity with them. And you know, some bullshit, and some say something stupid, but like the fact is, like, you know, there you can see like those people like making fake videos or whatever that is, and that's where people lose it. But the authentic ones, like you see like Kai Cenat right now, and like
Yeah.
Aiden Ross and Nelk, you know, these guys are all like, I'm gonna say whatever I want, whatever it is. And like, you know, the more authentic they are, the more their fans become more engaged. And I think that's just where the world's at today.
Uh-huh. So how did you kind of get involved with the Nelk Boys, and why did you want to work with the Nelk Boys?
Um, well, they were just like the best at marketing. So
Uh-huh.
working with talent, you know, there it's sometimes you work with certain talents that just don't want to post a brand deal, don't want to promote their merch, they want to launch a merch and they don't do it. Nelk was just like, so I mean, I was watching it for quite some time, and then during COVID, they just like broke everything everybody was scared of, they weren't.
Uh-huh.
So like, you know, they were filming in areas that, you know, you're that was like anti-COVID, um and they just were filming great stuff because everybody's like watching yoga videos and like work at home
Mhm.
stuff and everything. And these guys were just doing wild stuff, and they're just so funny and authentic. And then on top of it, they had their full set brand that they
Mhm.
launched, and they just plugged that thing every day, and they did insane amount of money and revenue. So that whole world of them being authentic, being absolutely savages at promoting a product that they own, I was like, I want to work with those guys. Like,
Mhm.
um, I had incredible partners, and they believed in us, and we believed in each other and everything. But these guys really knew how to, like, you know, monetize and be authentic at the same time. So
Uh-huh.
they were making money, and then they're investing in that, you know. It's kind of like Mr. Beast, right? Like he like sits there and like does these crazy videos and then takes all that money and reinvests it. These guys are doing it through merch. So my brother met Kyle at a restaurant, and we had dinner the next day. And my brother called me. He's like, "Hey, you think we should work with them?" I'm like, "Yeah, we should." But I knew they were like anti-management, and at the same time, we want to get out of management and like want
Uh-huh.
to just find a partner and be a we just want to find a brand and put all that energy that we put into multiple incredible talents that we work with, but put that talent into a brand. And that night we came up with the name we came with the concept of Happy Dad.
Uh-huh.
And then it took a little bit of like kind of like dating in a way, right? Like we spent some time. They're just like, wow, Sam and John, you know, keep me authentic. Like,
Mhm.
you know, isn't telling me like how to do things and all that stuff. And we could throw him ideas, and he took it, you took it, he didn't. Like we just magically all connected and came up with the name concept with Happy Dad because they had a young male audience, like, you know, 20. And we were like, let's tap into a 21 and over audience. Make your drinking Coronas and White Claws. Let's go make a better seltzer.
Mhm.
And I knew nothing about alcohol other than drinking it. And we just like figured it out, you know, and we made the brand cool. Like we kept the logo cool. We've, you know, we have this beautiful office that we opened up like in 2021, and um it just all worked out great in a certain time. I don't think we would be able to pull this off 10 years ago.
Mhm.
It all had to perfectly connect, you know, and that's just life and time,
Yep.
and great partners that believe in you, right? Like you know, Kyle and Steve and everybody else, they just we're just we have such a great chemistry, and there's such great trust that has been built over the years. Didn't happen overnight, that we have each other's back, but at the same time, like they let me do what I need to do to grow the business. And there's things that they don't even want to touch, right? Like all the boring stuff of the business and all that. And there's stuff I don't want to do. I think right now they're streaming for 24. They've been streaming for like 24 hours or 36 hours, and they're like, "Why don't you come and buy here?" I'm like, guys, I got to worry about our distribution, our sales for a bunch of states. I'm not going to go join your live stream and everything. And I think that's the respect. Like I'm obsessed with our sales team and our product and all this stuff, and they go do them, and that's why we mesh so well because they, you know, they're geniuses in their own way, and I'm executing my own way. You know, my brother's the same.
Yeah, I was gonna ask kind of like how that relationship with your brothers, like how you guys kind of complement each other's skill sets.
So I'm the one who travels to all of our like all over the state, all over the North America actually, because we're in Canada. So I'm more in the field. Uh, Marketing is kind of we're all aligned. You know, me, my brother, and Kyle all work together on that. Depending on what marketing is, there's certain things that like I just never need to get their permission because it's just easy stuff. But then there's like bigger ideas and decisions where I'm like, hey guys, I need your help on this because I got a lot of shit going on, and more importantly, I need like two more genius brains to really think if this is a good idea or not. So like all of our packaging, all of our new logos and all that, all three of us have to approve it. And we it's not we don't have to approve it. I just love their opinion on it, just to think if it's right or not. And you know, my brother does a lot of the partnerships. He also runs our other company, so he's running Full Send, he's running Shots.
Yeah.
He's helping Kyle out a lot with like a lot of this like partnerships and stuff that comes with their content, and then growing, you know, other kind of ventures that we've always been part of. But during Happy Dad, he's just more of an extension for me. Where while I'm out in the field being on flights, I mean, I travel probably 75, 80% of the year. I'm on probably on a plane. Um, you need somebody in a stable environment that's just thinking clear all the
Yeah.
time, and it's not dealing with flight delays and all that. And where he's like, "Hey, I think we should do this." I'm like, "Shit, great idea." So if he gives me 100 ideas a year, you know, it's probably like 90. I'm like, "Let's go do it." 10 of them's like, "We can't do that because of X, Y, and Z," and then we move on. And same thing goes with like Kyle. So it's a really great partnership because you have like two incredibly great executors and geniuses that are just like your support system, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great you found that and that you guys, work together really nicely. Um, when you think about like just kind of like the branding of Happy Dad, I mean, we talked about that a little bit. You said you kind of came up with the at least the concept within like a day, after. But just the whole distribution of that is another thing. I think that's why you're traveling. Like how did you guys figure out distribution? You mentioned you weren't in the field before. How did you kind of get the right partner to even produce a seltzer? Figure out what the seltzer would be like, all of that piece.
Man, fortunately, we've owned a few different startups and companies. So I think, you know, to say like 10,000 hours gets you like, you know, you get great at something. Well, we have like 100,000 hours of like hustle and business. And I think one of the things that's been great for us is because my brother and I came from the internet business and the content business. You're only as good as like what you're posted last week, you know? So you're always trying to innovate, right? Like you cannot make the same videos, and our marketing is always trying to innovate. So when it comes to distribution, that was, I mean, we learned, you know, we've had incredible partners, we've had some shitty partners, mostly incredible, you know, and I think if I was like 22 years old, I would have had only shitty partners and I would have been hustled in contracts, but just business smarts of just having a lot of hours into it is what happened. We on top of that, we're big believers since we've ever started with all of our other companies. It's like hiring people that are smarter than you that can help you learn. So I have about 14 people that report to me, and we have 123 employees. And we have such a great communication system of everybody working collaboratively together. So it's hard. I mean, we have 234 distributors across the United States. We have our own sales force, about 31 employees in Canada now. Um, and all that happened in 4 years.
Wow.
So and think about 234 distributors, it's 234 contracts that we sent. We just onboarded like over like 140 distributors in the last 90 days. So we had to negotiate 140 contracts, sign, you know, that there's people that have never done that many in their lives. Everybody almost, right? So it's it's just something that like when you love something and you become so obsessed with it, you become really, really um, good at it as long as you have a great team. You have to build a team. You can't do this shit on your own. It's impossible. I spend all my time working with our team. And now, since we have such great team members, is how do I improve and make their lives easier? That's what I'm trying to do is how do we make their lives easier? How do we make our distributors, partners' lives easier? That's our game of beverage, and maybe other consumer goods are like that. I'm just not in it, but in beverage, delivering cans to hundreds of thousands of stores. We've, I don't know, shipped like 250 million cans in 4 years. That's a lot of potential errors, but more importantly, a lot of beautiful sales reps and people that we could work with. And if we're great partners and positive partners and make their lives easier, they're going to want to sell us more than other brands.
Yeah. I mean, what is your vision just for Happy Dad in general? I mean, there's a lot of companies that get started. Their goal is like, oh, we'll exit in X amount of years. And, like there's a lot of great case studies in this space, like with vitamin water and Coca-Cola and Bai. And there's all different types of drinks. So we've seen the exit kind of happen. Like, hey, what is your vision for Happy Dad? What do you want to see it become?
So one is, we want to be one of the best beverage companies out there. So
Mm.
that's having an incredible sales force. So we have like other SKUs coming out in the future that we're releasing. So that execution is there. So we want to be the best partner to our distributors, because if we're great partners, that means we're really good at what we do. And then whenever we have a great product, which is part of the whole journey, then we do really well financially. Revenue wise, I don't really think about selling the company. I don't think about, do we IPO one day and all that. I care about how do we become efficient every day, and how do we grow revenue. But growing revenue is an interesting way, because it's not about profits and all that. It's about how do we connect with our customers, right? The more we connect with our customers, the more they love our product because we have a great liquid, then our revenue increases. When our revenue increases, we could do cooler shit. What that means is we could go maybe lower the price of our merch to make it more affordable for our fans. Our price at the stores could be more competitive. So when people are raising their prices, we don't have to, because we have great profits. We can invest in more in fun activations and moments where our customers are going in and be like, damn, I love Happy Dad. I went to this golf tournament. I had such a great time with their activation, all that. So the revenue allows us to reinvest in the business to make it a better experience for our customers, our distributors, and everybody. That's what is fun about having that way, that type of cash. But for us, it's just being like the best seltzer and tea and other product that we're going to launch, later this year, and being out there and just being great partners. Because you do that, like you don't really have to stress about a lot of things. And so I don't really think about what we're going to do in the next 5 years. Like I think about tomorrow and the next year, which is right around the corner. It almost feels like tomorrow, and just staying relevant, right? It's every day someone's copying everything we do. I can't tell you how many companies have copied our hat, like saying, "Oh, we sell these many hats to anything." I'm like, "Yeah, but you ain't selling like Happy Dad."
Yeah. Well, it's a special DNA that you've kind of built up that is within all of that you're doing. And it creates a really unique environment and a unique team. And you see that in the product. I mean, I've had a lot of Happy
Yeah,
Dads over the years.
yeah. It's a very authentic culture that we've created, and I think people see that how much we genuinely care. Like, there's not a new flavor or new SKU that we don't release unless all of us love it. Because the whole point of Happy Dad is putting your hand in a cooler and grabbing a drink and drinking a Happy Dad. It could be a lemonade, it could be a tea, it could be, I think I just said lemonade, whoops, but whatever, let it be. It's been floating around the internet anyways. And our seltzer, now the flavors and its profile, or if it's like a tea versus that, it's just added value. But we want people to be part of that culture. People are like, oh, I love what you guys stand for and everything. And it's really just authenticity and just having a good time. And I think in today's world, a lot of people in beverages, they're just making stuff, but like we just have fun. I mean, I can't tell you how many activations and things we've done where I'm like, yeah, that's boring. We did that last time. Let's do it again. But that's from the content days of like, we already filmed that video before. We can't do the same thing over again. So, but I think that's what will always keep us really cool, edgy on our marketing and be ahead of everybody else.
Are you surprised by just how far you can go with a content creator led brand? Like how powerful that audience is? I mean, now you've been doing it
So
for a bit, but
yeah, yeah, and Yes and no. So I'm very, and I tell our team this, it's freaking beautiful and amazing what's happened to us. It's amazing to be in this business in general. Like these things just don't, these content creator businesses, 9 out of 10, like 49 out of 50 fail, So,
Uh,
um, and for us to do that, but I think again, going back to something I said earlier, is like if the timing of my experience, my brother's experience, Nelk being where they were at,
mhm,
and what our vision was. And one of our visions that a lot of people and creator businesses that is very important. This is what we learned from managing creators because we saw this from companies is people become a little too obsessed with it being about the creator and not about the product. And
mhm,
you'll hear my brother and I talk about this a million times out there is, the celebrity, the creator, the influencer, whoever it is with that huge audience gets you in the door.
yeah.
But they don't, there's also an audience that probably doesn't like them, right? Like, I don't know if I would have drank Casamigos if I knew George Clooney was selling it because maybe I'm not a fan of George Clooney in Ocean's 11 or something, right? Like, and I mean, what does George Clooney know about tequila? But I drank it because I didn't know he was an owner. I found out when it got acquired, and it was delicious. And I'm like, great, I like it. But the point is, we leveraged our audience in a positive way. We showed them a great product. We showed them a great experience. We showed them great merch. We showed them everything. And then from there, it just turned into like this amazing like ripple effect,
Mhm,
domino effect. And then at the same time, we pulled back on our celebrity because we wanted the Happy Dad logo to be the biggest thing out there, not Nelk, not any other partners. Even if new partnerships we have, we bring them in, but it shouldn't be only about them. People should have learned about our brand from them. So now
mhm,
at that point, they become fans of it later. And now, I mean, most people I run to, like, yeah, I just went to like an HEB or Walmart or something and saw a pack of Happy Dad. I kind of heard of it. So I bought a 12 pack and now I'm like, damn, it's good. So I've been a fan since.
mhm,
Um, but if you like are obsessed with the celebrity and they're all over everything and all that,
mhm,
it doesn't matter how freaking big you are, it's still a small little audience and you're actually going to hurt yourself on
mhm.
that. So,
Interesting.
you know, it's a really interesting thing. We've done like over like 450, almost 500 meetups with Nelk and everything. And this year we did one,
Wow.
you know,
Changed.
and that's it. There's nothing else scheduled for the rest of the year.
Huh. Yeah.
So they love it. It's like less work for them, but also they could go and make awesome content and stay relevant and do what they need to do, which is what they do the best at, right? Is like creating great content for their fans.
Mhm. How has the UFC like collaboration been for you guys? Because that's a huge audience, and you guys have been really integrated with Dana there in the UFC in general, and I'm sure there's a lot of
I
cross.
mean, it's great because we love the UFC as a sport, right? So it's so cool to be part of something that's there. And Dana literally has made the best, fastest growing sport I think out there, and it's just so entertaining. And he's just the most loyal, amazing guy. Has our back, um, and he's just funny ass dude. And his team is like you want to see the most buttoned up team on the planet. You go to a UFC fight and you look at the team that Dana built. Those the ladies that work for him and this whole team, these guys are just like rock stars. They're so freaking good at what they do. And their chemistry is just on point. But for us as a brand, I mean, listen, primarily men watch UFC, so that connected with it. And we just were able to have a good product because they were drinking beer, right? And then now they start drinking the seltzers. And then they also saw that we love the USC just like them. So they
Mhm,
saw the authenticity of the connection, right? Like I go to probably 10 fights a year and they're so freaking awesome, right? So people see that we are part of that community. We're not trying to capitalize on that community. We're actually part of that community. Like we bet on that community. We go to the fights and signing the guys were like a lot of our friends that we became friends with and we ended up signing them. So I think that's what it is that we're not forcing ourselves in the community. Like we're actually fans of it. So like we just signed a great rodeo bareback rider named Rocker Steiner. And I mean, I knew him for a little while and like him and I were hanging out and I was like, and I saw him compete and I was like, this sport is awesome. I never had really watched bareback horse riding and
mhm,
I fell in love with it and like I started going to them we're just like, dude, we should sign you. Like, this is fun to us. Like, I'm gonna go visit him next week and a bunch of other things because I actually enjoy going to those things, right? But there might be some sports that I'm just not a fan of, and that's why we're tapped into the communities that we chose, is because we actually genuinely enjoy watching it.
Yeah, it's got to be authentic, like you were saying earlier, and that's just it's a common theme. It's got to be like that. Yeah, Sam. Just the last question that I have: where do you kind of see like this creator space going? Because like now there's been this huge shift to just build brands, and lots of brands are sprouting up. Some authentic, some not. You've really figured out how to do it right. Where do you see this space just heading to in general?
Um, I think that if somebody makes something that one is not super competitive. So let's say an energy drink, right? If someone goes makes another energy drink and they're the biggest celebrity and they love energy drinks, I don't think it's going to work. There's just too much competition in that market, right?
Mm.
If they make another water, like, it's not going to happen. So my brother has said this before in other interviews, is that, it has to be something that's like very niche, like something new, like, some white space available in that market thing and authentic to them. So if you have a bald creator trying to make shampoo, it's like, I don't know how well that will do. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. I mean, bald people use shampoo, but like, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, it's like great conditioner. You're like, well, what's going on here? But that happens, right? Like, you're like, why are you even, there's celebrities that, promote alcohol that they don't drink. I'm like, what's going on here? It's a weird world right now. Like, some do extremely well. Certain micro influencers do well, right? So it's not about how big the following is. It's about how engaging that following is. That's been like that since day one. There's people that have 100 million followers and they can't move one box of cereal, but you get that 150,000 level creator, and like that guy might sell out a whole store. So I think we're in a very unique place. I think there's a lot of brands that grew really fast that are going to have some challenges because you have to have a great like product team and all that, right? So we hear this all the time. Hey, I'm going to launch, I don't know, a sports drink or something like that, or whatever. And you're like, well, who's the team behind it? What do you got? Oh, it's just whatever, some guy. And I'm like, dude, do you know how many employees you need? We have 120 employees and we're still understaffed. And so who's behind it? Oh, it's just this agency. Well, like, you need somebody like 100% focused on it. Like, for me, I'm 100% focused on Happy Dad. This is all I do. The rest of the team is just being more innovative and doing things. But for me, they had to do that. So if someone's like creating a product, it's like you gotta have a badass mother effer on there to like just go in and be all about that brand, hire the right people and grow it or anything. If not, they're gonna be like, yeah, could you just do another post? We need more sales on our website. It's like that's not gonna move the needle. So I don't know. We're in a very interesting space. Also, I haven't really been paying attention too much because I'm just like obsessed with our distributors and our sales. So I see things pop up, but I don't really know how well they're doing. I'm sure there's a bunch of beautiful brands that are doing well, but then there's probably a lot that are just coming and going because, it's a bad product and maybe like not a committed team.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's an interesting space because now everybody wants to do when they see a couple of successes. So there's a lot of shots being taken. We'll see where they
It's like,
wind
it's
up.
like, it's like everybody wants to be a music artist sometimes, right? They're like, oh yeah, I got a new song coming out, and then like it comes and goes. You're like, okay, just do that. But it's a big investment. If you're going to go in and build a product, you
Yeah.
gotta go all in. You better love that thing. You better be using that thing. Like Kyle right now is probably drinking a Happy Dad right now,
Yeah.
like on the golf course, and so that's really important, right? And if they he's also a crazy health nut. So like he picks his battle. He's like, yeah, I drink like once a month or whatever. And right now he's doing it for on a video, but it's one of those things. You gotta be about it, right? You can't just be like, yeah, I'm not a big thing. And that's where like my brother and I, whenever we pure products, I'm like, do I really care about shoelaces?
Mhm.
like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just got them on. That's all it is. It's just such a weird thing. So I don't know. People are just trying to make a quick buck, and this is all long term. And we're trying to make a great company and with great employees.
Yeah. That's the way to win. Sam, I appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I think it's fascinating the journey you've had so far. I mean, you started out building apps and then partnering with creators and realizing there was this whole other side to what these people could do. And then now, I mean, with Happy Dad, like this is the example of what you can do with creator brands. And you built this up and from not much of anything to where it is today to all these distributors. You mentioned 200 plus distributors, and I'm sure it's going to continue to go really well. And as you scale it out all around the world, I'm just excited to see that happen. So thanks for taking the time and doing this.
Well, Ben, thank you so much, and looking forward to running into you again in one of these towns and drinking a Happy Dad.